Bonjour à tous, bienvenue au Karting d'Open. Dans cette vidéo, nous allons vous montrer le déroulement de la course à laquelle vous allez participer ainsi que les consignes de sécurité que vous devez respecter.
To start with, we advise people with heart or back problems and pregnant women against participating in a race. We refuse drivers with more than 0.5% alcohol in their blood or who are under the influence of narcotics. If you feel sick during a race, we advise you to enter the pits and stop driving. Know your limitations. There are racing suits at your disposal. These are not mandatory, but recommended. However, it is mandatory to wear clothes that cover your arms and legs. Shoes need to be closed and without heels. It's mandatory to wear a fastened helmet of the right size. For hygiene reasons, we ask you to wear a mob cap in paper or fabric. It's strictly forbidden to wear scarves or loose clothing that could become caught in the moving parts of the cart. Long hair must be tightly tucked up under the helmet. Safes are at your disposal to lock up your valuables and personal items. You need a €1 coin to operate them. When you're ready, we expect you downstairs where the carts will be waiting for you in the pits. It's no use jumping into the cart with your lucky number because you'll be placed in the order determined by your race organizer. The first driver in the first start position, and so on. It's very important to have a good driving position. You can adjust the position of your seat with the handle on the left of your cart. We advise you to use the foam and spacers if it helps you find a comfortable and stable driving position. Our marshals will help you find the right position. It's very important that children don't drive a cart that's too big for them. We ask that you obey the marshal's instructions. Carts are driven with 2 pedals and a steering wheel. The left pedal is used to brake, the right one to throttle. You can't use brake and throttle at the same time because it can severely damage the clutch. Please avoid abrupt acceleration and braking. To maintain good control of your cart, your hands need to be placed at 9:15 hours on the steering wheel. The race will be started by one of our marshals. We ask you to obey his instructions. Leave a gap of 5 meters between carts to avoid early accidents or confusion at the start of the race. We advise beginners to drive the first laps calmly so you can explore the track and the behavior of the cart before you start to race. During qualifying, your goal is to drive the fastest lap. At the end of qualifying, the red flag signals that you must stop on the straight line. We ask you to make 2 lines to the far right and far left side of the track in such a way that a cart can drive between both rows. The competing drivers are placed behind the pace cart according to their best times to make a flying start. During the lap behind the pace cart, we ask you to drive calmly without overtaking. When the green flag is shown, the pace cart will pull over to the side and the race can start. The team can switch drivers during the race. However, it's safer to respect the following procedure. The first driver enters the pits slowly as usual. He gets out of the cart on the left side and leaves the pits behind the cart. The new driver waits behind the fence until the cart has completely stopped. Then he enters the pits and takes his place in the cart, entering from the right. The new driver should adjust the seat so he can drive comfortably. Every driver has to obey the marshal's instructions during the entire race. These instructions are given with colored flags. The yellow flag signals the presence of an obstacle on the track. All the other drivers need to slow down in the area between the yellow flag and the obstacle. You must not overtake in this area. The blue flag signals that a faster driver wants to overtake. Move to the outside as soon as the track allows it, so the faster driver can overtake you on the inside. To avoid misunderstandings, we advise you to signal on which side the faster driver can overtake. The red flag means stop. It's used in the following cases: at the end of qualifying, if an accident or technical problem occurs on the track, and finally, to stop an individual driver who is not following the rules or is driving aggressively. When this flag is shown, the driver concerned needs to stop near the marshal, who explains the matters to which he has to pay attention. If the same driver has to be stopped a second time, he'll be obliged to take a timeout of 2 to 5 minutes depending on the infringement. The green flag signals that the race is underway and that you can begin overtaking. The black flag signals that the driver concerned has been excluded from the race. This will occur only after he's been stopped and warned twice. A driver who does not respect the safety instructions is a big danger on track. He'll be permanently excluded from the race with no discussion. The finish flag signals the end of the race. The yellow lights around the track signify the same thing. You have to enter the pits slowly, as always. To end with, we want to mention a few very important safety instructions. It's strictly forbidden to get out of your kart or take off your helmet while on the track. If you can't continue the race, after a shunt or because of a mechanical problem, we ask you to wave your arms until the marshal sees you and helps you. Then, keep your hands on the steering wheel and certainly not on the tires. It is strictly forbidden to bump into a competing driver. Any unjustified contact between competing drivers will be automatically sanctioned. The same thing applies for tire-to-tire contact. It's also strictly forbidden to bump into the track barriers. If these elements are moved or damaged, rendering the track unusable, the karts will be stopped until the track is repaired. Avoid looking behind you. This causes a spontaneous movement of the steering wheel, which often leads to accidents. Another piece of advice: don't brake while cornering. The brakes of a kart work only on the rear wheels. This has the same effect as using the handbrake of a car and turning at the same time. It makes the kart slide and you lose control over the steering wheel. A better technique is to slow down and, if necessary, brake slightly before the curve. If you don't feel at ease on the track, you can always wear a fluorescent vest. This way, the other drivers pay extra attention.
Votre sécurité est notre priorité. N'oubliez pas que vous êtes là avant tout pour passer un bon moment. Soyez sportif et fair-play, tout le monde appréciera. Si vous avez des questions à poser maintenant ou pendant la course, l'équipe du Karting de Pen se tient à votre disposition. Nous vous souhaitons une excellente course et que le meilleur gagne.